Chapter 11. Distribution, customer service, and logistics. So at the end of this lecture, you'll be able to understand why logistics, which is also referred to as physical distribution, is an important part of place and marketing strategy planning. You'll understand why the physical distribution customer service level is a key marketing strategy variable. You'll understand the physical distribution concept and why the coordination of storing, transporting, and related activities is so important. You'll see how firms can cooperate and share logistics activities that will provide added value to their customers. You'll know about the advantages and disadvantages of various transportation methods, know how inventory and storage decisions affect marketing strategy, understand the distribution center concept, and many other new terms. So here's our familiar 4 P's of the marketing mix, and we will discuss place in this lecture. When managers think about place, they generally are concerned with making goods and services available in the right quantities, the right locations, and when customers want them. There are many different combinations of logistics decisions. Each combination can result in a different level of distribution service and different costs. So in this Chapter 11 and this discussion, the best way to provide the level of distribution service that customers want and are willing to pay for is our key subject. Next, the choice among different modes of transportation, each with its own costs and benefits, is going to be reviewed, and in the end we will investigate decisions about inventory and the use of distribution centers. So logistics is the transporting, storing, and handling of goods in ways that match target customers' needs with the firm's marketing mix. Physical distribution is referred to as PD, is the other name for logistics. Whenever the product includes a physical good, place requires decisions about logistics. There are many different combinations of logistics decisions. Each combination can result in a different level of distribution service and different costs. Firms must determine the best way to provide the level of distribution service that customers want and are willing to pay for. Logistics costs are very important to firms and consumers. These costs vary from firm to firm and from macro marketing perspective from country to country. Differences in logistics costs across countries can be substantial. Customers think about physical distribution in terms of the customer service level, how rapidly and dependably a firm can deliver what the customer wants. Customers tend to care about their own needs, not about how the product was moved or stored. So in other words, customers want products, not excuses. To improve the customer service level, some firms outsource some or all of their distribution work to specialists like we see in this ad, Penske. Penske can handle order fulfillment and inventory management in addition to transportation. Its expertise in logistics can help firms reduce large inventories and other distribution costs while improving the level of customer service provided. A firm like Penske will help firms with limited financial resources or a lack of people with expertise in logistics can turn to an outside supplier like Penske. Physical distribution is usually invisible to most consumers. The only time many consumers notice the physical distribution system is if they have special needs or if something goes wrong. If it is handled properly, as is usually the case in well-developed macro marketing systems, physical distribution is taken for granted by customers. In physical distribution, there are always trade-offs among costs, the customer service level, and sales. Because physical distribution costs can be substantial for various levels of service, marketers must determine what level of service is possible and appropriate for each target market. For example, a retailer might reason that providing faster transportation than consumers' demand will maximize customer service and reduce lost sales. However, as this chart shows, the important trade-off is between customer service and costs. Providing additional levels of customer service, such as more inventory to prevent stockouts or faster transportation, eventually increases the total cost of physical distribution. Notice that the curve of lost sales goes down as customer service increases, but only to a certain point. At certain points, providing too much customer service can actually detract from the overall marketing effort because it can increase costs and possibly price the product out of the reach of consumers in the target market. The physical distribution concept dictates that all transporting, storing, and product handling activities of a business and a whole channel system should be coordinated as one system, and that seeks to minimize the cost of distribution for a given customer service level. Unfortunately, too many firms still treat physical distribution activities as separate and unrelated. The first thing organizations must do in implementing the physical distribution concept is to decide what service level to offer. Marketing research can help to determine the appropriate service level, and it typically takes into account the various factors shown on the slide. Order processing, inventory management, shipping, storage, and returns are all key factors affecting the service level. Marketers must then find the lowest total cost for the right service level. The total cost approach is when one evaluates each possible physical distribution system and identifies the total cost of each alternative system. The total cost approach is shown in this advertisement for NYK Line, which is a shipping company, and the shipping expense is an important element of the total cost in the physical distribution system. When using the total cost approach, all of the costs, including transportation, inventory, packing, and damage, are identified and considered for each possible PD system. Sometimes there are so many possible combinations of physical distribution functions in each PD system that identifying all the alternatives is sometimes difficult. For instance, water transportation may be combined with other forms of transportation to get a product from its origin to its final destination. Some companies use computer simulations to compare the alternatives. So let's check our knowledge. A manufacturer of accessories for PCs evaluates all the alternative systems by combining order processing, transportation, inventory management, and storage. If the total cost approach is followed, which physical distribution system should the manufacturer select? C. The one that meets the customer service requirement at the lowest total cost. So when using the total cost approach, all of the costs, including transportation, inventory, packing, and damage, are identified and considered for each possible physical distribution system. The goal in this approach would be to meet customer service needs at the lowest total cost. So C is the best answer. Coordinating logistics activities. Physical distribution functions must be apportioned across the channel to facilitate the flow of goods and services. And in this way, each member functions efficiently and maximum value can be passed on to the consumer. Functions can be shifted and shared in this channel. How physical distribution is shared affects the rest of a strategy, especially price. Just-in-time requires a close cooperative relationship among the channel members, which also helps to reduce conflict. One result of just-in-time is that some channels see an increase in the number of participants contributing to the final product. A supply chain may involve even more firms than a channel of distribution. So supply chain is the complete set of firms, facilities, and logistics activities involved in procuring materials, transforming them into intermediate and finished products, and then distributing them to customers. Trying to coordinate physical distribution throughout an entire supply chain is a very difficult task. Computers and the internet are becoming more and more important to marketing managers who need to keep track of inventory levels, when to order, and where goods are when they move. Continuously updated information systems, such as the ones fed by supermarket checkout scanners, can provide marketers with an up-to-the-minute inventory count and also instantaneous readout of what consumers are buying. EDI, or Electronic Data Interchange, sets a standard by putting information in a structured format that allows suppliers and customers to access each other's computer systems. It helps speed the processing of orders, inventory tracking, and customer service requests. In addition, EDI brings buyers and suppliers in channels of distribution closer together. As in all areas of marketing, physical distribution raises some ethical concerns. Most of these ethical issues that come up in physical distribution are about communications over product availability. Some internet vendors are being criticized for creating false expectations about the speed of delivery or for selling products that are not available. Conventional retailers also receive criticism for running out of products that they promote heavily. Some retailers offer rain checks to deal with the situation or try to manage demand proactively by taking advance orders. Coordination of PD activities can also generate ethical problems. Transporting is the marketing function of moving goods. Transportation makes products available when and where they need to be at a cost. Transporting aids economic development and exchange. Without low-cost transportation, there would be no mass distribution as we know it today. As shown in Exhibit 11 right here, transportation can be costly. Note that for products that are relatively inexpensive, such as basic commodities, transportation costs are a large part of the selling price. Transportation costs are a smaller part of the selling price for goods that have a higher per unit value, such as manufactured goods. Because transporting often crosses regional, national, or international borders, governments may influence transportation by developing transportation systems or by regulating them. The transporting function must fit the whole marketing strategy. There really is no such thing as a single best transportation alternative that applies to every case. As shown in this chart, All of the transportation modes have advantages and disadvantages. Therefore, the marketer must choose an appropriate mode taking into account the product, other physical distribution decisions, and the level of customer service required. In the U.S., railroads carry more freight over more miles than any other mode of transportation. Railroads can move large loads at low cost. Rail car shipping is slow and limited to where track is laid, but it is ideal for many bulky and non-perishable goods. Trucks are more expensive, but flexible and essential. At least 75% of U.S. consumer products travel at least part of the way by truck. So in countries with good road systems, trucks are also a fast transportation alternative. So which transportation mode is best? Well, it depends. Each transportation mode offers some advantage. The purple rings highlight the best alternative for each transporting feature. Here we see water transportation, and this is the slowest shipping mode, but is also low in cost and can handle a wide variety of goods. Water transportation is a very important means of international shipping. Often it's the only practical approach. So as this ad for mobile shows, marketing managers have to be sensitive to the environmental effect of transportation decisions. So this ship has 2.2 million barrels of oil on board. Mobil built this ship with both an inner hull to keep the oil in and an outer hull to keep the water out to reduce the odds of an oil spill. The double hull design is more expensive to build and operate. Aside from international shipments like the one shown in this ad, inland waterways are important also. Examples include the Mississippi River in the U.S. and the Danube River in Europe. They are key conduits for large shipments of bulky, non-perishable goods. Pipelines move oil and gas in oil-producing and oil-consuming countries. Many of these pipelines link oil fields and refineries, leaving other modes of transportation to carry finished petroleum products. Air freight, as suggested here by KLM Cargo, is expensive but fast. It has an extensive number of locations served, a high frequency of scheduled shipments, and is dependable. Airplanes may cut the total cost of distribution and have proven to be the most efficient method of shipping for many firms. Further, time-sensitive materials and business documents can be worth the cost of quick delivery. So as this advertisement shows, many firms want to reach international markets and can do so more easily with the help of firms like KLM Cargo that handles deliveries all over the world. Its information systems provide immediate feedback and updating. Its high service level is critical to many business customers. For many international shipments, it makes sense for shipping companies to put many products in a container so that it can be easier to move between different transportation modes. Containerization involves grouping individual items into economical shipping quantities and sealing them in protective containers for shipping to their final location. Piggyback service loads truck trailers on rail cars to provide both speed and flexibility. So in other words, piggyback is a ride on two or more modes. Transportation choices are usually not as good in developing countries and can cost more. Marketing managers must be sensitive to the environment effects of whichever transportation mode is selected. The purpose of this is to show the different transportation modes. Now let's check our knowledge. The best transportation alternative for shipping chickens from farms in West Virginia to processing plants in Maryland would be probably truck. It's important to get the chickens from the farm to the processing plant quickly. So the area covered between West Virginia and Maryland is very short. Therefore, trucking the chickens would be the best transportation option. Storing is the marketing function of holding goods so they're available when they're needed. Inventory refers to the amount of goods being stored. Storing is necessary when production does not evenly match consumption, and it can increase the value of goods by making them more available when customers want them. Thus, storing can smooth out sales, increase profits, and enhance customer satisfaction. Storing helps keep prices steady. Storing helps balance supply and demand and keeps prices from sudden rises or falls. Storing allows producers to manufacture larger quantities of a product and to take advantage of economies of scale in production. Storing varies the channel system by increasing flexibility. Storing allows producers and intermediaries to keep stocks at convenient locations ready to meet customers' needs. Therefore, marketers may have more ways to vary the firm's marketing mix to better meet consumer demand. Storing goods can increase their value by keeping them available, but goods stored have a cost. Among these costs include interest expense and opportunity cost of the money tied up in inventory, cost of storage facilities and maintaining them, handling costs, costs of damage to products while in inventory, costs of risks such as theft and fire, costs of inventory becoming obsolete. Rapid response cuts inventory costs. If producers and intermediaries can coordinate their activities using just-in-time inventory or efficient customer response (ECR) systems, storing costs will drop because less inventory is needed at any particular point in time. EDI, or electronic data interchange, links that spark replenishment orders will also make storing more efficient. Specialized storing functions may sometimes be better accomplished through intermediaries with a very particular area of expertise. Private warehouses are storing facilities owned or leased by companies for their own use. Firms use private warehouses when large quantities of goods must be stored regularly. The cost of private warehousing may be offset by the increased control a marketer has over the distribution of a product. Public warehouses are independent storing facilities offering all the storing and regrouping activities of a company's warehouse, but they are open to many firms. There is more flexibility available when using a public warehouse. There is no fixed investment involved, but the marketer relinquishes some of the control over a product's distribution when using a public warehouse. Warehousing facilities can cut handling costs too, but much depends on where the warehouse is located and how modern it is. Distribution center is a special kind of warehouse designed to meet the flow of goods when regrouping activities are needed, but storing is not. The objective in the distribution center is not to store the product, but to distribute it. Direct store delivery skips the distribution center. Managers must be innovative to provide consumers with superior value. So which of the following statements indicates a reasonable approach to the management of inventory and storage. E. Have enough inventory on hand to meet the expected level of customer service required, but don't carry too much. So given all the potential costs of holding inventory, as a manager you would want to hold enough inventory to meet expected levels, but not much over that level. So E is the best answer. Now you should be able to understand why logistics, or also called physical distribution, is an important part of place. Now you understand why physical distribution customer service level is a key marketing strategy variable. You understand why physical distribution concept and the coordination of storing, transporting, and related activities is so important, and how firms can cooperate and share logistics activities that will provide added value to their customers.